Tonight, the major legal test for Donald Trump's tariffs at the U.S. Supreme Court. Why a major weapon in the president's trade war could be in jeopardy.
It's a congressional power, not a presidential power to tax.
And how the outcome could impact Canada. The fallout in Ottawa after a Conservative MP crosses the floor, and what voters in his Nova Scotia riding are saying about his decision to join the Liberals. And we take you inside the OR as a CTV News cameraman undergoes brain surgery. You're now just a few hours away from a surgery that is potentially life-changing.
I think you saying it kind of just makes me emotional.
There we go. I'll see you on the other side.
The rare access into the high-stakes 5-hour procedure.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina.
Good evening. We begin with a major case at the U.S. Supreme Court that could have significant implications here in Canada. Even Conservative justices who make up the top court's majority pressing Donald Trump's lawyer today on the president's sweeping use of tariffs, putting the cornerstone of his economic agenda in jeopardy. CTV's Washington Bureau Chief Joy Malbin on the showdown.
The handmaidens were back protesting President Donald Trump's tariffs outside the Supreme Court. The justices have to decide if the president had the authority to use a 1977 emergency statute to impose sweeping tariffs on more than 90 nations, including Canada.
President Trump has negotiated agreements worth trillions of dollars with major trading partners.
It's a congressional power, not a presidential power to tax. And you want to say tariffs are not taxes, but that's exactly what they are.
Even Conservative justices seemed skeptical. No other president has used the emergency law before to impose tariffs.
The exercise of the power is to impose tariffs, right? And the statute doesn't use the word tariffs.
But it uses the word regulate importation.
The tariffs have been challenged by businesses and a group of states after lower courts agreed the president overstepped his authority.
For nearly 40 years, my family has built this business from the ground up. Today, reckless tariffs threaten everything we've achieved.
Trump's tariffs have cost Canada billions of dollars in lost business, straining relations with the U.S. And with trade talks stalled over an Ontario anti-tariff ad.
Such trade barriers hurt every American worker.
This is like somebody's driving the train. We're kind of in the back cars, and we don't control its speed, and we don't control its destination.
With the president's tariffs hanging in the balance, the administration is preparing backup plans should the court rule against him. A swift decision is expected within weeks or months. Omar?
All right, Joy, thank you. Those tariffs framed the Prime Minister's first budget, which now needs to pass in order for his minority government to survive. The chances of that have increased after a Conservative member of Parliament crossed the floor. CTV's senior political correspondent Mike Lacouture on the switch, and the new speculation Conservatives responded to today.
A clearly content Chris d'Entremont welcomed by a lively Liberal caucus. Nova Scotia MP says his decision to cross over came down to serving his constituents and issues with Pierre Poilievre.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the leader of the opposition had been talking about.
I'm honored.
The newest Liberal accompanied the Prime Minister to his post-budget press conference, where Mark Carney had this message for all parliamentarians.
Wherever they're sitting in the House. This is a time where we need to act as a country, be as unified as possible.
D'Entremont's former caucus colleagues questioned his move, given his record.
6 months ago, he ran on an affordability agenda. He ran to lower deficits. He ran on a stronger economy, a pro-growth agenda, and he's turned his back on that.
But the former Conservative says others in that caucus are also mulling over a move.
I would suggest that there probably are those that are in the same boat, but I will let them tell their stories if that time comes.
Attempting to quell recent rumors that she is crossing the floor, Conservative Dominique Vienne released a video reaffirming her commitment to the party. But if others do go, some pollsters predict problems for Pierre Poilievre.
It is a rare thing for a member of parliament to cross the floor, especially one in an environment as polarized as Canada is today. And I think that suggests, it would be a signal that Mr. Poilievre has a real challenge in keeping the party together.
Late this afternoon, another Conservative tried to squash ongoing speculation that he is leaving. Alberta MP Matt Generou's office told CTV News he is not crossing the floor. Omar.
All right, Mike, thank you. There is also plenty of reaction in Chris d'Entremont's Nova Scotia riding. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth was there today.
As word spread throughout the riding of Acadianapolis that their Member of Parliament, Chris d'Entremont, was switching parties,
I was pleased.
Some liked it, others didn't see it coming.
I was a bit shocked, yeah, because I've known him for quite a long time. I was in Rotary with him back in 2004 or 5.
D'Entremont has been a prominent political figure in these parts for years. An MP since 2019, he also served in the Nova Scotia legislature for 16 years, always as a provincial progressive conservative or federal conservative.
I'm thrilled because I think that he's a good representative, and so it's going to be a plus for the Liberals to have him on their team.
Carney is good for the Liberals, and I think his move to Carney's party is going to be very good.
That opinion is not shared by everyone who lives here.
I'm not very much impressed with the Liberals. They have done a lot of harm to the country, and I'm not very pleased that he did that.
It's worth noting in April's federal election, Chris d'Entremont won this riding by just 533 votes, a margin of 1.1% over his Liberal opponent. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Yarmouth, Nova Scotia.
We are taking a deeper look tonight at what the budget means for you and whether the average Canadian will see any immediate impacts. Here's CTV's Abigail Beeman.
Morning. How are you?
At an Ottawa light rail yard the morning after the budget, the Prime Minister highlighted its $51 billion local infrastructure fund.
Canada's strength wasn't built in the halls of Parliament. It was built in our communities.
An attempt to make a high-level budget he calls generational relevant. As many economists say, there aren't many takeaways for the average Canadian's daily life.
The government is moving in the right direction, but seem hesitant to go all in on this.
Economist Randall Bartlett points to previously announced tax cuts and a new promise to lower bank fees as impactful, but says it's tricky to find the narrative.
The amount of support that was provided to the economy is less than we were expecting. We looked at the depth of the cuts. It was less than we were expecting.
They're worried about how they're going to pay for their grocery bills. They're worried about how they're going to afford tuition. They're worried if they don't have a doctor. And this budget doesn't do anything for them.
Conservatives call it a costly budget.
Never before have Canadians had to spend so much to get so little.
The big bet that Mark Carney's making in this budget is on the patience of Canadians.
Scott Reid calls it a 30,000-foot budget with measures to reorient our economy and restructure business investment taking as long as a decade to see tangible impacts.
They may be absolutely necessary, but they are not urgent. And Canadians tend to think, worry, and vote on the basis of urgency.
Reid says the government needs to focus now on showing Canadians how this budget could help them on an ongoing basis, not just on budget day. The government tells CTV News today's train depot announcement was just the beginning of a cross-country tour to promote the budget. Omar?
Abigail, thank you. The new mayor-elect of New York says he's willing to speak with Donald Trump, but will resist any intimidation from the White House. Zoran Mamdani spoke today after directly challenging the president in his victory speech.
Whether that be delivering on his campaign promises around cost of living, or the many issues that New Yorkers have been sharing with me about the drastic impacts that the legislation that President Trump has ushered through Washington will mean for them and their lives.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Mamdani becomes the first Muslim mayor of New York and at 34 is also the youngest person in over a century in that role. Democrats also won races for governor in New Jersey and Virginia.
I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening and we learned a lot.
In other news, at least 12 people are now confirmed dead in the deadly crash of a UPS plane in Kentucky last night, as dramatic new footage emerged today of the aircraft, and a warning, it may be disturbing to some. Authorities say the cargo plane's wing caught fire and its engine fell off just before it crashed after taking off from Muhammad Ali International Airport in Louisville. The president of Mexico is pressing charges after she was groped by a man who she says appeared drunk as she was speaking with supporters in Mexico City. Video shows the man approaching President Claudia Sheinbaum from behind and trying to kiss and wrap his arms around her. The man is now in police custody, suspected of inappropriately touching 3 women, including the president, on the same day. Sheinbaum says she felt a responsibility to press charges on behalf of all the women of Mexico. The incident raised questions about her personal safety, but Sheinbaum says she will not increase her security or change how she interacts with people. Global Affairs has confirmed that a Canadian was one of 7 people killed in an avalanche in Nepal earlier this week. 5 foreigners and 2 locals died when the avalanche crashed into the base camp on Monday morning. So far, rescuers have recovered at least 3 bodies from the snow. And Newfoundland is bracing for more bad weather a day after a weather bomb slammed the province with heavy rain, pounding waves, and gusts more than 100 kilometers an hour. Flying debris forced a road closure near Memorial University, and high winds practically shut down St. John's Airport. The weather bomb won't fully leave the province until Friday morning. And to break down this weather bomb, CTV Atlantic Chief Meteorologist Kaylin Mitchell joins us now with more. Kaylin, walk us through how significant this was, as well as the next 48 hours.
Thank you, Omar. This was an extraordinarily powerful storm, coming within a stone's throw of the national record for barometric pressure, and that is a measure of the intensity of the storm, bottomed out at 944.7 millibars. That's a record for Newfoundland and just shy of the record that came with Hurricane Fiona. And speaking of hurricanes, this storm system produced hurricane-force wind gusts in the south coast of Newfoundland, some of those in excess of 170 kilometers per hour. Now, strong winds, high waves are still present around coastal areas of Labrador and the north coast of Newfoundland, but the storm system is moving off towards the east. So conditions are going to be improving for those areas as we go through tonight, Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon. Omar.
All right, Kaylin, thank you. Overseas, a closer look tonight at what is being described as the world's worst humanitarian crisis. And Canadians are caught in the chaos of Sudan's civil war. CTV's Heather Wright spoke to Sudanese families calling on Canada to help save their loved ones.
10,000 kilometers separates Ashraf Ahmed from his family in Sudan. He tries to keep in touch with them and watches from Canada as his country spirals deeper and deeper into chaos.
The number of killed people and displaced make the war in Sudan the biggest tragedy in the recent history.
For more than 2 years, Sudan's army and the paramilitary group called the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, have been embroiled in a bloody power struggle. The fighting has killed thousands of civilians and left nearly 25 million people facing acute hunger. Ottawa introduced special measures for Sudanese Canadians to help bring family members here. But Ahmed says the process is slow. His parents and in-laws were able to escape Sudan but are stuck abroad, waiting to come here. His mother-in-law passed away last year.
Her grandchildren, my children, were not able to see her.
The violence in Sudan is escalating. The city of El Fasher fell to rebel forces last week, with survivors describing scenes of horror. RSF fighters going house to house, killing civilians, raping women, and slaughtering patients in a hospital. Sadia Ara is a pharmacy technician in Ottawa, originally from El Fasher, and is calling on countries like Canada to do more to help end this conflict.
We enough about talking. We need action on the ground.
Ara was able to bring her mother to Canada in May, but worries that cuts to foreign aid announced in yesterday's budget will not only make the process harder, but also reduce the amount of aid Canada sends to Sudan. Ottawa has sent more than $100 million in aid since the conflict began.
Some human rights groups say Canadian weapons initially sent to the United Arab Emirates are being used in this conflict. The UAE denies arming the RSF. Prime Minister Mark Carney is expected to visit the UAE later this month, though it's not clear if the issue of weapons will be discussed. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Coming up.
I have a family, so I worry about if something could happen, even though it's, I'm under good hands.
We take you inside the operating room for a potentially life-changing surgery for a CTV cameraman. Last night, we brought you part one of a remarkable journey of resilience and a life-changing chance encounter with a surgeon. A CTV cameraman who suffers from essential tremors that cause uncontrollable shaking in his hands underwent brain surgery. And tonight, we are taking you inside the OR for a rare look at the operation. It's the day before Kirk Neff's brain surgery. And he's throwing a few punches in his basement gym to get into the zone for the operation.
My coach who trains me always says, it's funny because you don't shake when you box. So say if you put your hands up, I do this, like my body's just like, I don't feel stressed.
For most of his life, he's been fighting a neurological condition that causes his hands to shake involuntarily. Essential tremors, they're called, an impediment in his job as an award-winning cinematographer, and a major constraint on his life overall. But when he boxes, it's as if he enters another world. So you feel calm right now, you feel relaxed?
I calm, and it's funny because my hands are covered. So could it be a thing that my hands are covered and I'm not seeing them? I don't know.
Still, he can't escape the magnitude of what he's about to go through. You're now just a few hours away from a surgery that is potentially life-changing.
I think you saying it kind of just makes me emotional about it because, I'm 54 years old. I have a family, so I worry about if something could happen, even though it's, I'm under good hands. But yeah, it's in the back of my mind, I'm a little nervous. I mean, listen, it's brain surgery, right? This is the real deal.
Now we'll continue on this side, on the back of your head.
Yep.
The stakes are enormous.
So here we are getting ready to put this metal frame. We need to target a very specific point in the brain.
One wrong move could have disastrous consequences.
We cannot be off target at all.
There we go, I'll see you on the other side.
Over the next 5 hours, Dr. Mojgan Hodai will meticulously insert a small electrode inside Kirk's brain and position it next to the cells that are causing the tremors.
We need to reach a fine object deep into the brain. So this requires an accuracy, I don't play golf, but better than a hole-in-one, I think.
The electrode sends an electrical current. It's called deep brain stimulation.
By delivering a specific amount of stimulation all the time, we're interfering with the tremor networks.
And to find the area responsible, Kirk needs to stay awake the entire time.
Count from 20.
20, 19, 18, 17.
So I'm asking Kirk to count backwards. Oftentimes that brings out the tremor because it allows patients to not focus on the tremor, focus on the numbers. And you can see that his hand is already steady. And we often look for the water in the bottle shaking as an indication of tremor. It's not shaking anymore.
So you're basically getting real-time feedback.
Absolutely, and we want that, obviously. It allows us not only to zoom in on the target, but also minimize side effects.
The other end of the electrode gets connected to a device under Kirk's chest.
It's a pacemaker. So we're using a pacemaker that, rather than it pacing the heart, it paces and controls the firing of these deep cells inside the brain.
And in part 3 tomorrow, Kirk finds out just how successful the operation was, his moment of truth, and his emotional reunion with Dr. Hodai. Still ahead, how a football legend cloned his previous family dog and the price tag. Former NFL superstar Tom Brady says he's been given a second chance with Junie, who happens to be a clone of his beloved dog who died in 2023. He shared the details as part of a news release by Colossal Biosciences, the company he used to clone his previous family dog, a pit bull mix named Lua. Brady is also an investor in the company. And in case you're wondering, cloning a canine costs between $50,000 to $85,000. A four-legged fashionista from Montreal, famous for her social media presence and signature looks, has died. Tika the Iggy, an Italian greyhound, rose to social media fame with more than 1.6 million followers thanks to playful videos like this, where her retirement was announced, showing off her extensive wardrobe. Her owners say she died shortly after undergoing surgery, surrounded by family in Montreal. She was 14 years old. Still ahead, Canada's cultural pitch to compete in a popular international song contest. Canada struck a cultural tone in the budget, making a pitch to secure a spot in the Eurovision Song Competition. It is one of the world's most watched non-sporting events, drawing hundreds of millions of viewers globally. Here's CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin.
A show of fireworks filled with glitter and at times self-parody. The Eurovision Song Contest has also long been known as a vehicle for nation branding and cultural diplomacy.
It really has been a mirror of the political and social change in Europe, and that's why people love to watch it as well.
The contest was first held in 1956. Switzerland won then. It's now watched by hundreds of millions of viewers. And some say it's no wonder that at this moment, Canada wants in hopes of furthering ties with Europe.
The core countries of Eurovision are EU members with which Canada shares democratic values.
And despite its name, broadcasters from non-European countries too, including Australia, have joined the chorus of participants. And while Canada has never joined in, some Canadians have. In 1988, Switzerland famously borrowed our Céline Dion. She won. Eurovision's inclusion in this country's budget, with details and figures yet to be revealed, hit a sour note for some. A Conservative MP took to X, saying, "Can't afford groceries? Don't worry, the Liberal budget is exploring participation by CBC in Eurovision."
I think it'd be great. I don't know if it's like Eurovision is, yeah, why not? Why not, right?
On Montreal streets, there's some applause for the bid, including from these American tourists.
Canada, 100%. We have American Idol. It's kind of bad, but we're kind of bad, so it works. Like it fits what we're doing down there. So yeah, we don't deserve Eurovision. Canada definitely, yes, should be involved. Yeah.
And so it seems there's still quite a bit of exploring to do before Canada is in the spotlight at Eurovision. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
All right, we'll see how it goes. That's a snapshot of this Wednesday for all of us at CTV National News. Thank you for watching. Good night, and see you tomorrow.
CTV National News, Canada's #1 newscast. Canada's #1 newscast for excellence in journalism.
We begin tonight with breaking news.
CTV National News with Omar Sachedina, winner of the Canadian Screen Award for Best National Newscast. Watch weeknights at 11